This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good morning everyone. Agon Erev Shabbos, Shalom Aleichem. We're learning Siman Memvav. The Rama told us after the Mechaber brought 2 deos regarding saying Psukim Derech Tachnunim before Berachas HaTorah, the day Rishona was not to. There was a Yesh Omrim that it's not an issue. The Mechaber's conclusion is it's correct to be Choshesh L'Svar Rishona. The Rama says the minhag is not that way. The minhag is Kisvar Achroina. However, Nohagu Lahachmir, namely to say Berachas HaTorah right after Asher Yatzav Ein L'Shanois. Now let's continue in the Rama. V'toiv loimer b'shachris achar Shema Yisrael Baruch Shem Kvod Malchus Olam Va'ed. In the morning, in the Avodah, in other words, between Berachas HaShachar and Psuk de Zimra, there's we say Ashreinu Ma'tov Ashreinu Shanach Nashima Rivim Shema Yisrael. It's good to say Baruch Shem Ki Lefamim Shoyin Im Kriya Shema Lekroisa Shloi Bizmana, because sometimes Kriya Shema is delayed and it's read Shloi Bizmana. V'yoytze b'zen. At least if you say Shema Yisrael and Baruch Shem, you're yoytze. Which is interesting. It's well known. There are many shittos about how one is mekayim in the midst of Shema. The Mishna Berura's conclusion is the most strict of all. Namely, you have to recite all 3 parshiyos to be mekayim in the midst of the eraisa of Shema. However, there is a shita, the Pri Chadash, I believe, that you're mekayim in the midst of by saying the first 2 parshiyos. There are Rishonim that say you're mekayim the first parsha. There are Rishonim that say just the first pasuk. There are Rishonim that say Kriya Shema is midrabanan. There's a shita and taisus, but we paskin it's dairaisa, and the Mishna Berura goes with the Shagas Aryeh that all 3 parshiyos. But it seems like if you say the pasuk of Shema Yisrael with Baruch Shem, there is some level of kiyum. Says the Mishna Berura, miyad achar, sivkatan lamid shachris va'afilu hamashkim va'boiker hashkim. Even those who wake up very early, va'omrim kriya Shema koydem amar hashachar, they say Shema before amar hashachar, the sham bevadai eno yotze b'zayidei kriya Shema, then for sure you're not yotze kriya Shema before alois hashachar, afal pikein noyagim l'sayim achra Baruch Shem. Why? Not clear why. We don't know why. It doesn't say. The Rama says it's good to say it because sometimes you're yotzei, but what if you're not being yotzei? It seems like Baruch Shem is the appropriate thing to say. Maybe like the Medrash says, that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't say it, Yaakov Avinu said it, so we say it quietly. Okay, now, what's the inyan of saying the Baruch Shem? Ki lefa'amim perush misham del fa'amim shayin Tzibbur. Sometimes the Tzibbur delays in saying Shema. L'chein yoimru b'chol pam. Therefore, you need to say every time Baruch Shem kavod malchusay li'olam v'ed. To beloy Baruch Shem kavod malchusay li'olam v'ed. Lo nira hakriya Shema rak Tzibbur dvarim. Because sometimes the shliach Tzibbur delays saying the Shema. Therefore, you should say every time Baruch Shem, because if you don't say it, then it seems like you're just saying psukim. Ach yechavin shaloi lotzais. However, you should have in mind not to be yotzei. Now this is very interesting. That's not what the Rama said. The Rama said you should say Shema, you should say Baruch Shem, because sometimes there's a delay. V'yoytze b'zeh, and you're yoytze with this. So why is the Mishna Berura saying that Yechavin shaloi latzeis? B'chlal, another question is, why do you have to have kavanah not to be yoytze? Just don't have positive kavanah to be yoytze. We hold mitzvahs tzrichas kavanah. So some achronim say, well, we have to be choishesh for the shita that mitzvahs ain't tzrichas kavanah. in the Bir Halacha v'yoytze bazeh, the Mishna Berura seems to say it's enough just to not to be mechaven, to be yoytze. But he says you should be mechaven when you say the Kriya Shema before the Psukei de Zimra. You should be mechaven not to be yoytze. Elam ken yorei shat tzibur yavru zman Kriya Shema, unless you're afraid that the tzibur will pass zman Kriya Shema. Avol kishalo yavru, but if you're not worried, mutav latzeis yidei Kriya Shema emat tzibur. If you're not worried, it's better to say Shema with the tzibur. Shabbat tzibur yikra kol hashloisha parshos uberchaiseha k'moshe tiknu chazal lechatchila. The best way to mekayim the mitzvah of Kriya Shema is with all three parshos, including the brachos. You should only rely on the Kriya Shema earlier if you're afraid you're going to miss the zman. Uvemakom sheyarei shat tzibur yavru zman Kriya Shema. In a situation where you're afraid that tzibur will be over, will pass the zman Kriya Shema, yichavin libay, you should have kavana kedin Kriya Shema, v'yichavin lotzis v'zeh ha-mitzvah saseh de Kriya Shema. The b'mitzvah d'oraisa kaimela m'siman samach sivdal, the mitzvah tzils kavana. Now, the question is, but you're only saying the first pasuk. So how are you yotzei the mitzvah of Kriya Shema if you're only saying the first pasuk? So says the Mishna Berura, Yesham sheikru kol parsha rishayna. Some say, well, then say the whole first parsha. Then it's better to read all three parshas. K'moshe kasav ha'pri chadash k'dei lahazkir yitzias Mitzrayim b'zman Kriya Shema. Uv'chayadam hiskim v'chayadam v'chlal ches din zayin hiskim la pri chadash. By the way, I have a shaila for you. We learned in Siman Hey that one should be mechavein when they say brachos, the meaning of Hashem's name, the way it's read and the way it's written. Ba'adnus uvehavaya. Every time you say Hashem's name. The Gra, on the other hand, says, May oimek hadin, you only have to be mechavein by Kriya Shema. Remember that Gra? What if my shul is davening after the Zman, and I was yotzei already Kriya Shema, and now I'm saying Shema because just to be oimed to Shman Esrei mitoch devei Torah, do I need to be mechavein by Hashem's name that kekriyasai uchechesivasai? The din of the goin that I only have to be mechavein by Kriya Shema is that when I say Kriya Shema or when I'm yotzei the mitzvah of Kriya Shema? When I'm yotzei the mitzvah, right? I'm saying this is very relevant. You daven in shul Friday night. Friday night, they're davening too early. Every shul Friday night, they're davening before the Zman. Yeah, because in America, Tzeis HaKalam is 50 minutes after Shkia. In Eretz Yisrael, the sun drops. But in the Galus, there's no shul in the world that davens Marav Friday night after the Zman Kriya Shema. Nowhere. No yeshiva, nowhere. So, and everyone's waiting for the Rav. What do you have? Let him speed up because he doesn't have to have so much kavanah. I have a question. Do you have to have kavanah to Mekabel o Malchus Shemayim? Is being Mekabel o Malchus Shemayim a din in being yotzei the mitzvah of Shema, or is it a din in reciting Kriya Shema? I would say it's a din in being Mekayim the mitzvah. Anyway, I'm not sure about that. Fine. Siv Katan Lamed Beis. So you should say the Baruch Shem, because sometimes they delay the Kriya Shema Shaloi Bizmana. Says the Mishna Berura, Dahainu Achar Shalosh Shais, which is after 3 hours. Sha'avar Zman Kriya Shema, Dain Lo Yavar Zman Birchas Kriya Shema, but the Zman of Birchas Kriya Shema is not passed. Ad Achar Sharavias, Kilakaman Mesiman Ches. Aval imhu yarei shat Tzibbur yavru gam zman birchas Kriya Shema. If you're afraid that Tzibbur is going to pass the zman tefillah, ein lo lahamtem le'klal, don't wait for them at all. Ki yafsir al yadam brachos. You're going to lose the brachos v'gam zman tefillah. Shu gam kin lechatchila rak at arba shoyis. Zman tefillah is also only lechatchila till 4 hours. Ki lekaman misim peites al yikra bizmana beberchaisel v'yispal b'chid daven b'yichidos. Now, the Ramah is saying that if you're afraid they're going to miss the Zman Kriya Shema, Mendy, I need you to write down a few questions. Okay, you ready? Question number 1 is, why does the Mishna Berura say in Sifkat Lamed Aleph that Yechavein Shaloi Lotzeis? The Ramah says, we're talking about a case, that the Ramah says, since sometimes they delay, therefore, you're yotzei with the first one. So why would the Mishna Berura say you should be mechavein, not to be yotzei? The whole purpose is to be yotzei. Number 2, do you need to be mechavein for Hashem's name if you are already mekayim Shema? Number 3, do you have to be mechavein to mekabel omachos shamayim if you already said Shema? Yeah, Rabbi Yeager is going to ask all of his people. Next Mishna Berura. V'yoytze b'zeh. Ayin b'dagel mervava v'chem b'chidush Rabbi Kiva Eger. Shekasu d'b'chol lo yechavein lotzeis ela imkein hiniach tefillin mikoydem. During the week, you should have in mind not to be yoytze the zman Kriya Shema unless you first put on tefillin. The chol hakar Kriya Shema b'li tefillin ki lo meir sheker ba'atzmai. You hear this? Fine. You want to be Yotzei Zman Kriya Shema early because the Tzibbur is saying it too late? Not a problem. But here's the issue. You don't have Tefillin on. So you better make sure you have Tefillin on. And here is my dilemma. You ready for my dilemma? I'm divulging too much personal information here. But in our shul on Sunday morning that we daven 8:30, Zman Kriya Shema of the Magen Avram is sometimes 8:40. I want to be Yotzei the Zman Kriya Shema of the Magen Avram. Do I have to go to shul extra early to put on my tefillin to be Yotzei the Kriya Shema according to my... I want to say the Magen Kriya Shema before davening, but I don't have my tefillin on yet. So do I need to put on... In other words, the Tzibbur is going to get the Zman of the Gra. And the Zman of the Gra, I'm going to have my tefillin on. But I want to be Yotzei the Magen Avram. It's a machlokes on a dairaisa. Do I have to put on my tefillin? In other words, when I'm saying Shema of the Gra during davening, and when I'm saying Shema earlier, I'm making a Tanai. I'm saying if the Zman Kriya Shema is like the Magen Avram, I'm Yotzei now. If it's not like the Magen Avram, I'll be Yotzei later. But if I'm being Yotzei now, I don't have tefillin on. So I try, b'li neder, I try to put on my tefillin. But sometimes the Magen Avram's Zman is way earlier than the davening. So the Dirshu brings over here, Im nimtza lefnei Seif Zman Kriya Shema Magen Avram kasav Shema Zalman sheyikra Kriya Shema v'yasna shem ikra azman ka Magen Avram yatzav zeidei chayva v'mareu kakar b'Torah. Says the Rav Shema Zalman, Einoi chayiv l'haniach tefillin. You don't have to put on your tefillin. Kivan sharoi v'olam noyik hizman shel gra. The minhag ha'olam is like the gra. And I've seen this, I think Rav Moshe says, the ikar shita is the gain. Now, people like chumras. That's a chumrah that, I try at least. I mean, to me, it's not a chumrah, it's on a dairaisa. It's machlokes on a dairaisa. But the Rav Shlomo Zalman says, since the minhag ha'olam is like the gra, you don't have to put on tefillin. But Rav Nissen Karlera, it says, you need to put on tefillin even to say Kriya Shema like the Magen Avram. Only if you're running late and by putting on tefillin you're going to miss the Zman of Magen Avram, then say without tefillin. Says Reb Chaim, no. Even if you're going to miss the Zman of the Magen Avram, you must put on tefillin. Why? So you'll get it like the Gra. I don't think we're even able to say that. I can't even, I'm not right to say I don't understand the words of Reb Chaim, but it's hard to understand why one would give up being Yotzei, the Doiraisa of Kriya Shema, according to Magen Avram, just to put on Tefillin. I mean, Lo Yisochisi Lahavin Dvarav HaKdoshim. I hear more like Rav Shlomo Zalman that you're not mechuyev to put on tefillin. The Magen Avram is a chumrah, and it's not ma'akev. It's not ma'akev if you don't have tefillin. Okay, but definitely it's considered proper to try to have the tefillin on for the zman of the Magen Avram. Okay, upashud says the Mishna Berura. This is why I don't understand Reb Chaim Kanievsky. The Mishna Berura says it's pashud, that if it's not possible to put on tefillin for whatever reason, al yimna machmazeh mitzvah satzei de Kriya Shema. Why? Ki tefillin u Kriya Shema shtei mitzvah sein ve'ein ma'akvin. Ki va'afilu isura leka. It's not even an isra. I don't understand the Reb Chaim Shita here. Deloy amru kol hakorei Kriya Shema rak b'mezid. We only say anyone who says Shema without tefillin is like me'erei shek ba'atzmai if you do it b'mezid. V'loy kishiyesh al eza oynes k'may shekasav alavush b'simen nun ches ayin sham v'ayin b'simen nun ches b'Mishna Berura sivkat en hey she'atakti sham divrei alavush. Okay. So the bottom line is there are three shitas about trying to get the Magen Avram. V'nira le'mamish le'ani ba'ani, I would say the ikar is like Rav Shlomo Zalman, that if you're trying to say the Magen Avram Zman, you're not mechuyev to put on the tefillin, although it's probably better to do so, and one should try to do so. Okay, the Mishna Berura concludes, Yoimer atahu ad shaloi nivra olam v'loi ad shaloi varasa. By the way, what's interesting is, are you supposed to end off Baruch Atah Hashem Mekadesh Shemai Barabim? This is something that Bnei Yeshiva are very unclear about. Are you supposed to say Hashem's name? The Torah says B'chaisim b'shem. The Beis Yosef says the Machlokes Rishonim. The opinion of the Gra and the Chazon Ish is you should say Hashem's name. When I daven for the Amid, I say Hashem's name. That's what it says in my Siddur. But the Makar HaChaim and the Seder Hayoim and Rabbi Yaakov Emden say you should not. Say a Pida Ari, one should not. It sounds to me that that you should. By the way, he brings over here, if you're mesupik whether you made this bracha, I think most people don't even say it, but if you're mesupik whether you made the bracha, the Chazon Ish went over to somebody else that he should be moitzi him in the bracha. And he would have him start from La'olam Hi'adam Yirei Shamayim. If you didn't make the bracha before davening, in the Sefer Ma'or Yeshenim, he brings that after davening you should not make the bracha. Anyway, okay, Rabbi Sai, we're going to start on Monday with a new topic, Siman Memzayim Hilchos Berachos HaTorah. So tell all your friends, your neighbors, your associates, your cousins, your Talmidim, your Abayim. It is a very important lima to learn halacha. Anyway, you'll be doing people a very big favor. Okay, thank you everybody for joining today, and Baruch Hashem Monday we'll be back on schedule. Okay? Okay, shkayach everyone. Have a good day. Good Shabbos.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.